Hello, my name is Edwin Rutsch, and I'm the director of the Empathy Center located here in beautiful Santa Barbara, California. The center's mission is to build the empathy movement and to raise the level of empathy in society through education and community building initiatives.
And my name is Anita Nowak. I teach at McGill University, and I'm the author of Purposeful Empathy, a book that invites readers to turn up the volume of empathy in their lives.
And at the beginning of 2024, Anita and I co-hosted the Empathy Summit, brought to you by the Empathy Center, and more than 40 authors of books about empathy participated.
They shared what their book was about, why they were motivated to write it, and what they hope readers will take away. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you'll buy their book.
And our next speaker is Michael Tennant. And Michael is an entrepreneur and a keynote speaker, and he's also the author of The Power of Empathy, a 30-day path to personal growth and social change. So the floor is yours, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Edwin. Thank you, Anita, and thank you, everyone here. So many of you have referenced your work in my book, and I just feel incredibly privileged to be here in a cohort with you all. I'm blown away. I'm Michael Tennant, as Edwin said. I'm the founder and CEO of Curiosity Lab. We are a purpose-driven venture studio and consultancy. My background, I'm a brand strategist. I'm also a keynote speaker and first-time author. Prior to Curiosity Lab, I led brand strategy and marketing at places like Vice and MTV, and for brands like Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble. My mission is to make practicing empathy mainstream. So before writing The Power of Empathy, I created a conversation game called Actually Curious, and it essentially gamifies trust building and learning how to have difficult but necessary conversations. I'm the creator of the 5 Phases of Empathy model, which was created to make practicing empathy easy, accessible, and even fun using the Actually Curious conversation game. And I'm the creator of the valuesexercise.com, where you can access and assess your values and your purpose statement within 20 minutes. And last but not least, I'm the author of The Power of Empathy, a 30-day guide to personal growth and societal change. So I came up with the 5 phases of empathy, the concept behind the book, after navigating healing from grief, loss, and professional setback. In 2019, before the pandemic, I suffered a breakup. And then in 3 consecutive months, I lost 2 of my older brothers. I was then fired from my job as a chief marketing officer of a public health nonprofit, which invested in mental health. Those consecutive occurrences drove me to my emotional rock bottom, where I was forced to grow beyond decades of emotional avoidance. I used to avoid emotions through work, through relationships, through alcohol, and even through drugs. And I realized that if I didn't change something, I'd probably die too. So when the pandemic hit, I'd already spent 9 months exploring how to heal and how to channel my emotions into my purpose. And I began to catalog how I did that. On the night of the death of George Floyd, that was the first night that I published my writing on how I was using somatic empathy to strengthen my emotional awareness, to strengthen my resilience, and my ability to confront conflict on a day-to-day basis. I began to speak about this work because I believed and could see that and I had empathy for the great many people who, just like me, just did not know how to stay there, recognize, be with, and move through the difficult emotions that show up when we're trying to cede power, that show up when we're trying to fight for change. By late 2020, I'd shared this work at places like NASA, the Robin Hood Foundation, Bumble, and Viacom, and had been featured by Beyonce, The Today Show, and the New York Times. In 2021, after teaching the 5 phases of empathy at over 3 dozen organizations, I decided to scale the practice of teaching empathy through the 5 phases of empathy through this book, The Power of Empathy. In 2022, I was inducted as a fellow of the Maynard Institute for Diversity in Journalism. And I closed that year receiving an investment from the megastar Pharrell Williams to continue my work in spreading empathy. So the Power of Empathy takes readers through my 5 phases of empathy model, but then adds a 6th phase for those who want to share and teach the word. Each phase is broken into 5 days, and each day begins with a reflective question so that the reader begins to co-create and practice empathy right away. The question is followed by education and anecdotes from my life and the journey that I went through to heal through loss and channeling my emotions into amplifying my purpose. And each day closes with an exercise that helps you put what you learned into practice right away. So phase 1, it's the language of feelings, which gives readers a shared lexicon in empathy and helps them to start practicing somatic awareness, because most of us don't get to practice that. And it really enhances our overall ability to be present and listen with curiosity. Phase 2 is the importance of intention, which gives readers a sense of their values as a tool to translate their emotions. Phase 3 is channeling purpose, which teaches about our power of choice, particularly in where we put our attention and our actions. Phase 4 is from empathy to impact, which urges us to audit the places we invest our energy so that we can maximize how we direct towards our purpose and towards the people and places that are meaningful to us. Phase 5 is living with abundance, and it examines how fear and scarcity lead to so many of our divides. And finally, phase 6 provides support to those who want to share and teach the 5 phases of empathy work. The Power of Empathy was written to give individuals a roadmap toward expanding their emotional awareness and resilience, strengthening their awareness of their power of choice and establishing healthy boundaries so that they could use that sense of security and groundedness towards their purpose. We're grateful that in the last 3 months since releasing The Power of Empathy, the book's been featured by Oprah. It's included on the Inc. magazine 100 non-obvious books that you need to read in 2024. And The Power of Empathy will be featured at South by Southwest in Austin. And I'm just incredibly grateful that we're building a nice groundswell among literary, wellness, nonprofit, and professional circles. I'm going to close with a brief passage from The Power of Empathy to give you a sense of the book. And I chose this passage because it really gives a sense on how to connect from inner work out to creating impact in the organizations that matter to us. Where in your life do you, so this is from day 24, which is in the fifth phase, and the day is called Strategic Applications. Where in your life do you want to apply more empathy? A byproduct of abundance is generosity. The more you use your tools of empathy, the more you will see your capacity for generosity grow. Up until this point, our practice in strengthening empathy has been focused on the self and on attuning ourselves to how our interpersonal relationships make us feel, including our families, our romantic partners, our colleagues, and our peers in our community. We learned how empathy for self can lead to more intentional and impactful relationships. You'll also begin to notice the generosity present in the people, organization, and activities that you are engaged with. You'll routinely find yourself the beneficiary of serendipitous moments and acts of generosity. Don't question this. These are all the great benefits of living with empathy and abundance. But there are also great possibilities for strategic impact to be made. Back on day 3, early in our empathy journey, we learned of relationship management as one of the 4 components of emotional intelligence. It is the most outcome-driven component because it considers one's own emotions as well as human behavior, and it honors the ability to tend to the emotional needs of the organization to foster productivity. Now, as we arrive at day 24, strategic applications, we will put relationship management into practice using our new skills in empathy.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
I'm about at time.
Yeah, that was it. Very hit the time very well. Just you have almost 30 seconds left. What are you going to be doing next with your empathy work? What direction are you going?
I am just focused on service and love. Up until this point, I've felt incredibly introverted, and I've seen that soften. And now I'm really ready to use the gifts that I've been given to bring this work out into the world more actively. So I would just love to share in chat a link to where you can stay in touch with me. And yeah, I'm grateful and thank you. I can't
We
wait to
also
hear
put
the
a bunch of links to all your different connections. So thank you so much, Michael.